you all to have it for your archive.
I'm ready.
You're ready to go. So,
They gotta know.
so first, I want y'all to put your chairs in, but then I do want you to sit back because Brother John's going to start. I should have told you that.
Put them back.
No. Put your bodies over there.
I fell.
Trying to get up here.
Yeah, she stumbled over my leg. I'm cool though. I'm gonna get over there.
No. You
It's
can
gonna
stay.
hurt for a
Y'all
second.
excuse us. This is what we do.
So today, clearly, I will have a chance to be a wrangler.
It said uncensored, right?
Yes, it is. But I want you to also consider.
No, we gonna consider everybody of age, whatever the case is. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, this is what we do.
This is what you do, and I want you to do
Up
that.
there.
Huh?
Quit trying to hog the camera. It ain't even on
It
yet.
ain't on yet.
Come on, Brother John.
Okay, so a little bit about the gallery as well. The current exhibit is featuring Lucille Terry, Debbie Gant, and Michela. If Vivian could stand or raise her hand, Vivian is going to be our solo artist for the next 2 months, and that exhibit goes up next week. I pride myself on having payment plans that are interest-free for all patrons. So if you see a piece that you love, please know that you can place it on an interest-free payment plan. I believe that everyone deserves to own original art, and I'm very passionate about that. Yes.
I got a question.
Yes.
What's her name?
Vivian
Her right here?
Wilson Blewett.
I'm gonna call her Blewett. Blewett, what kind of artist is you? You paint?
Yes. She paints, and she has some amazing pieces. So hopefully y'all come
I was
by.
thinking about, because I want to get some paintings for my house. Because right now, the baby, my 5-year-old,
She needs some.
she can't really paint, but I
She's
don't want
a-
to tell her that she can't, because
Right.
that's my baby.
Because she can paint, but we'll put some other paintings around
But
it.
she's painting the wrong stuff.
Yes. Well, we have the perfect thing for that. Vivian also teaches painting to young people. So see, look at all those connections happening. All right. So without further ado, we are going to have a presentation from Brother John. For those of you who may not know Brother John, he is a master storyteller, and I am familiar with his work through the American Jazz Museum, and I've just heard about him for such a long time. So I am so excited that he is here to give us some historical content. So can everybody hear us okay? Perfect. So without further ado, Brother John.
I bet you didn't know the true black cowboy history. I bet you didn't know what? I bet you didn't know what? It's not all about outlaw shoot 'em up guns, you see. I bet you didn't know what? I bet you didn't know between the years 1850 to the early 1900s, it has been estimated that around 35,000 African American men and women had the job of cowpunching. Now that's another name for being a cowpoke or cowboy, whatnot, cowhand. There. It's also been estimated between around about 3,500 were vaqueros. Now vaqueros is what we get the term buccaneers, buckaroos. They were the Mexican cowpunchers working in this here United States. Actually, the vaqueros taught the Europeans how, and when they got in this country, about cowpunching, how to handle cattle, or bovine, the technical name for that as well. Yeah. So when you talk about the cowboy, despite what Hollywood says there were many ethnic groups there. Black, white, Irish, Native American, indigenous there, working together. And if someone out there on the range, now it's a little different if you got into town. Yeah, everybody got their little squad together as well, like that. And of course, if you're out there, all alone out there, working together, just like the brother was talking about, yeah, your horse was your lifeline as well. You had to make sure you keep them well fed, take care of them and love them as well. Do what you can here because that was your lifeline. Your horse, no horse out there in the wilderness, you're as good as dead as well. And so, out there in the wilderness, the ground is your bed. The sky is your canvas. Yeah. The help of the chuck wagon or the cookie, that was the cook. Also, they're the one that did a little doctoring. So if you got sick, something from what the cookie bear said. Well, basically, that was the person that you had to end up seeing again. Not only they fed you, but they got a doctorate on you like that. Because you'd be hundreds and hundreds of miles from the nearest civilization. If one person was broke, one person needed a nickel, we all needed a nickel. There was sharing. So I look at this as there was much unity on the home, on the range. Oh, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. From my program of Brother John's Tales from the Black West there, just to give you a little bit of some of the names that played in this tapestry. African American, black men and women that played a part in this history that for years I didn't know a lot about these, till I became an adult. They call it, the history's been colorized with a effervescent tinge of white and whatnot. But there was a lot of color in this tapestry. I remember a lady by the name of Bridget Biddy Mason. Biddy Mason went a-walking to her freedom. Bridget Biddy Mason. She went a-walking from Mississippi to the land of California. She walked, trudge from Mississippi to the land of California. Now, Bridie wasn't allowed to ride in her master's wagon because she was a slave. She had to tend her master's oxen so they wouldn't stray away. And after walking over 1,700 miles to her freedom, she became one of the first black Americans to own property and land in Los Angeles, California, LA. Now, she was born around 1818, and her master, named Robert Smith, took a caravan of 300 wagons, and she had to walk. At that time, she had 3 children. One was an infant, and making sure the oxen and all the livestock was together. They got to Utah, and of course, a little time later on, Brigham Young, the Mormons had told him, like, hey, you know what? You can't go to California. I know you're going, but they don't have, slavery is not allowed in California. Well, he went and did it anyway, and he learned the hard way. He decided to get out, and they caught him, authorities there in California, caught him trying to escape out. Well, while she was on her way to California, though, she met up with a couple and said, you ought to fight for your freedom. And that's what she ended up doing during that little time when he was sequestered. Well, she won. And she did jobs. She was a midwife, a nurse, an entrepreneur of many sorts. And they said that her assets total when she passed away was around $3 million. Now, back then in 1860, 70 something, that could be compared. Do the math here. You probably can just Google up there that monetary, how much it's worth. Probably maybe about $50 million today. But she gave money and helped orphans and people. And there is a monument today somewhere near downtown LA talking about her work and what she did as well. And she was one of the first female period to own land, a whole city block around there she did as well. And founded the largest AME church of California, Los Angeles. Bridget Biddy Mason. I bet you didn't know. You ever heard of Roy Rogers, Dale Evans, what's the name of the guy there? Gene Autry, singing cowboys. Autry, Oh, the tumbling tumbleweed. Well, don't you know Hollywood's first black singing cowboy was a man by the name of Herbert Jeffries. Now, Herbert Jeffries was a vocalist, had a deep baritone voice there. And he sung around about in the 30s and 40s to 1943 with Duke Ellington. And Duke founded him, discovered him at the Apollo Theater. And he said, you know, I want you to come here and be one of my main lead vocalists. And so, how did the cowboy thing come in? Well, one day he said he was taking a break. Herbert was taking a break. And he walked outside there, and going past the theater where Count was playing there, he saw these kids, you know, a handful of little white kids, you know, just running by them. They're running, just what kids do. They just run, just run, you know. And then, and I guess they were doing something, you know, shooting like that, what cowboys would do like that. And then he was this little black kid, little black child, running right behind him there. And he heard one of the kids stop and says, you know, you can't play with us. He says, why not I can't play? He says, because there's no such thing as black cowboys. And Herbert like, you know what? And this is why I like doing forums like this. I love this. Thank you, Natasha, there. Education. Because that child didn't know. Herbert decided to say, you know what? This has got to be done. This has got to be told. Yes, there are black men and women, cowpunchers, helping to build and shape what we call the Old West. So that's what he decided. He talked to his management representation and whatnot there, his agent there, and he said, you know what? We got to do something about this. I want to write a black cowboy movie. I want to write them. Matter of fact, you need a series of movies, like 3 or 4 of them there. You can find them somewhere, Googling on YouTube and whatnot there. Herb Jeffries. Duke Ellington would say, you know what? I just want to call out right now out there in the band. He'd stop him on there. That's America's black singing cowboy. Well, he wrote these movies, these little independent movies. He was the good guy in the white hat. He had a friend of mine, a friend of his that rode with him, and in the movie serials. And there was a part, just like the movies would do, the serials would do, is that he would break out with a song. He would actually sing and started performing and using his voice, his vocal talent he did. Herbert Jeffries, Hollywood's first black singing cowpuncher right there. I bet you didn't know. Of course, you probably heard of this name, Bill Pickett. Yeah. Bill Pickett sung this song. Left me here to sing this song. Oh, Bill Pickett has come and gone. Left me here to sing this song. Now, old Bill Pickett was a mighty black man, and he worked for the 101 Ranch. Way down yonder in Cherokee land, around when the West was won by chance. He jumped a steer from a running horse, throw it down with a mighty toss. He worked for many, but he was his own boss. The last of the great cow hands there. Bill Pickett there. Now he said he heard the story, he got the idea, and a lot of cowpunchers back then, a lot of cowboys, when they wanted to enter a rodeo, if they were black, there was a lot of segregation going on with that as well. A lot of them had to put in, a lot of them had to put on the application, Indian. You know, just to be able to let you in. Now, Bill Pickett also, he was taught by a lot of his mentors up there as well, how to rope and ride and whatnot. And he said he got the idea and a dream about this little sport called bulldogging. They don't do bulldogging like they do today there. He's also on a United States postal stamp there. But he said he got the dream one day, the old cow dog would jump up, they call the bulldogs, would jump up there, you know what, and grab the jaw or the nose of that bull. Shock him so much there, the paralyzing pain would bring him down, and the cowpuncher would get a chance to go up there and do what they're going to do and subdue them down. Then he said in his dream, the old cow dog jumped up and said, you know what, Bill, you can do this also. What? That's right, you can do this better than me, kid. I want to see you do it. Well, he got the idea. And riding on this horse as well, he'll lean out on the saddle, grab the horns of the old steer. We're talking about 2,500 pounds of beef, reaching up like that as well. And he'll drag it down like that, and jumping off the horse using his foot, his boot as a brake. And then grabbing it, twisting, and breaking it down just like a wrestling move onto the ground as well. And You had to be good to do this as well, too. He did this between 8 to 10 seconds, bulldogging as well. Created and revolutionized the sport. Now, that's how we got today's modern day steel wrestling there. Bill Pickett there. Another man there, Nat Love. Young and rough, young and rough, Nat Love. Young and tough, Nat Love. Hard-working cowboy, Nat Love. Dead-eyed marksman. Now, Nat Love was also multilinguistic. He knew Spanish. He was taught how to read and write a little bit by his father. Yeah. And a little bit the story what made him famous as well, because he got the nickname Deadwood Dick. Now, Deadwood Dick, well, they were going to have a rodeo cowboy contest up in Dakota country, in South Dakota, Deadwood City. It's attracted all the cowpunchers, the best of the best, sort of like the Olympic for cowpunchers to come and exercise their skills in these various different events there. Well, said Nat, and he was no bigger than I am there. Well, Nat can actually rope and bridle a saddle, a horse. Rope, saddle, bridle a horse in 9 minutes flat. The closest competitor did it in 14 minutes. But also, the marksman competition, it's like, say, from a distance from here to that wall, with a rifle in his hand, hit, boom, 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 bullseye. 15 out of 15 shots, boom, 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 dead-eye marksman. Well, the town of Deadwood, they gave him the nickname, Deadwood Dick. That was like an honor. They never seen somebody who could like excel in sort of a sport. Sort of like the Michael Jordan, the Wayne, the Tiger Woods of the event. He was the top of the top there like that. Yeah. Or I got that lady, Erin Williams, she's the Olympic speed skater. Yeah, she's the top of her sport. That's what he was. Well, later on, he retired from cowpunching and worked for the railroad as a porter, let's say. But Nat Love, one of the youngest cowpunchers, started out when he was a teenager as well. Now, there are many trail bosses as well, too. We can go on and like that, yeah. You know, the Charles Goodnight Trail, like that, yeah. You know, yeah, all the trails. There's so many different trails. And there were black trail bosses. And working as a cowpuncher, well, you had to work as a team. Indeed. So it wasn't just like you see on TV riding around there and you just make it short and cattle on around, because you could start a stampede and it could be the life and death against you as well. So you had to have one for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles. Sometimes you could be out there on the road, on the range, working 6, 7, 8 months, maybe up to a year. That old song you may say is, "Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys." Because it wasn't easy, it wasn't pretty. All the gear that you wore had a special purpose, indeed. The boots come down there, the chaps, the long pants as well, the hats, keeping the sun as well as the rain, also used as a cup, you know, for water as well. All those had a purpose as well. They were just fancy tools. The bandanas, well, today we probably use it for this little thing called COVID, like that. But back then, this other little occupational hazard. But back then, they had to deal with a little something called dust. Yeah, you're working up, it's going to kick up a lot of dust, gray, black, and red dust. An occupational hazard there. So that's what the bandana was all about. Now, they were armored folk. There were some armored ones. Yeah, you strap sidearms. But mostly that happened in the towns as well. You got your money like that, you go in there, yeah, and anything could happen there. You know, there was unity in the home of the range. Unity. Black, white, Native American, Mexican, everybody, Irish worked together in harmony. Beginning on, Mary Fields. Stagecoach Mary. Up in Cascade, Montana, she was what you call the second African American to have to ride a postal wagon, to drive her own postal wagon. We're talking about like in the latter part of 1870s or so, 1880s here, there. But she's also was the first African American, period, to drive her own stagecoach line. And they called her Stagecoach Mary because she was right on time always. There's so many stories there. She stood 6 foot tall, weighed 200 pounds. She may have been a big woman, but Mary had a heart of gold now. Just Google her. Mary Fields, Stagecoach Mary. And last but not least, is an individual that many folks may not say considered someone that worked with cattle, but he was a pioneer in his sport. And he worked with a lot with horses, the equine. A man that happens to be my great uncle. And I heard actually you were talking about to the brother saying that, oh yeah, tell the story. That's what we're all about here. And that's what it's all about. When you hear stories like, wow, I didn't know this. Hey, you do this? Great. It's about the connection. It's about the unity. Knowledge is indeed power. Because it's hard to hate somebody whose story that you now understand, at least more than you did a couple of minutes ago. Storytelling, this is important to have this. So once you know if you don't know your history, you ain't know half yourself. And you find yourself in that history. And through a storytelling program some 7 years ago, I discovered this gentleman and discovered another side of my family that I just heard stories but didn't know personally make a connection. This man was born in slavery. He was a native son around about 1859. And his father was the white master. His mother was a slave around in Boone County, Missouri. But then later on, with the help of his grandfather and his grandmother taught him a lot of the converse and how to being able to conduct yourself with business and with high standards. This man went on to dominate the sport, what I call him the Jackie Robinson of the sport of high school equestrian or the equine ballet. That's just like if you have a horse. And he was the person who was a celebrated horse trainer, but also a breeder, as well as being able to put a horse, a four-legged friend with a human friend together. Because he always would say, cats, they pick their masters or mistresses like that. Yeah, you just can't put one personality together. It's just not going to work. This man ended up living in Kansas City for a short time, but he won over 3,000 horse show awards. Even when he was a young teenager being bullied by his half-brothers and sisters in a ranch in Boone County, his grandfather told him, look here, gussy yourself up right, put on your best shirt on there. Because his brothers and sisters would say, look at this little booger boy. You can't ride. What do you know about horses? Tom went home and cried, and his grandfather said, go ahead on, fix yourself up right, boy. Show him what you can do. They took this old mule by the name of Mr. Potts, and then Tom went on and worked a miracle. Even taught that mule how to gallop, canter backwards. Moved to Kansas City, started a little horse show to raise money for the Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department, because they were going to bring back specialized breeds of horses from Europe and as well as raise money for equipment for the fire department. At one time, Kansas City had one of the best fire departments in the world. This is back during the fire engines of trucks and when the automobile age. Yeah. Well, Tom, his horse show was a little success down there at Fairmount Grounds in Kansas City. Later on, it moved to the convention hall and the municipal auditorium, but we know it today as the American Royal. The American Royal Horse Show component, started by Tom Bass. And in closing, I just want to say again, thank you so much for this opportunity to share just a little piece of because we can go on and on all day. And I'm curious to sit back here and watch these brothers share with me. But as I finish here, I wrote a ballad to my great uncle, one of my ancestors. And if you keep talking, I guarantee you may find your history, find yourself, or find somebody that you can connect with. Like, wow, I didn't know. Hey, yeah. So this is a piece, Ballad of Tom Bass. Tom Bass, forever right. an equestrian, though it never starred in a movie western. Created Kansas City's first premier horse show, which became the American War, you know. Rode in parades for presidents, a friend of kings and queens, even businessmen. Won over 3,000 horse show awards, even taught them to gallop backwards. Tom Bass forever rides on the gates of what's his name? Tom Bass forever rides. He rode horses since he knew how to a little horse fly. Say, Tom Bass forever rides on the gates of the heavenly sky. Tom Bass forever rides horses since he knew how. A high-hatted horseman when he did, he can make a horse dance. The audience cheered. Some people called him crazy cause they heard him boast. And I can even talk to horses, they know me most. A high-hatted horseman when he did, never ever hit a horse that he rid. He didn't want a horse to suffer abuse. The bass bit he invented is still in use. Tom Bass forever rides on the gates of the heavenly sky. Tom Bass forever rides. He wore horses since he got to a little horse fly. Tom Bass forever rides on the gates. I'll say his name. Tom Bass forever rides. He wore horses since he got to a little horse fly. I'm Brother John, aka Cowboy John. Peace and blessings to you all. Remember, you fail to study, you fail to know. You fail to know, you cease to grow. So keep on learning, keep on studying, keep on reading, keep on digging for the knowledge, and you'd be surprised where you will go.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brother John. Thank you so much. Where can they find out more information about you?
Well, you can go on, I'm on Facebook at br.john, br.john Facebook. I'm on Instagram at br.john Anderson. And also my website, just Googling Brother John like that. br.john, Brother John like that. Or br.john RAJPA. That's my website.
Do you also teach storytelling?
Yes, I do, and not much since the pandemic. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, like that, but I belong to the motel, the River Parade Story Weavers, storytelling. We used to belong to that as well. And you can also just find out more there on br.john, Facebook and Instagram. There, just look at it. And all right, this lady. Just contact her. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm sure we all let's give another round of applause. I'm sure we all learned something. So I'm always glad if I can check off a few things that I know. I'm like, okay, yes, that's good. But so much new information. I grew up going to the American Royal every school year, and we were the only black people we saw there. We thought that we were kind of taught and thought that it was only white people that had cattle and all of those different types of things. And unless you have a history of family that lives in a rural area and you know about that, you know differently. But I'm fortunate that I was able to spend time with my grandparents in Ashdown, Arkansas. And I think that it's important for wherever you're from to go to a part that you're not from and experience that. So you just brought up a lot of fond memories, things like that. So Tavares is going to come up and I'm going to introduce him and then he's going to introduce the panel. And so I would like to say what I think about just in my short experience with Tavares is that one of the things that he is passionate about is sharing the tradition and keeping it alive, which we know that people who are willing to do that do have a special place in our community, in our culture, and also in our families. So I'm sure a lot of you all have the person that you go to about history in your family. You have the person that you're like, where is that kept? Or remember this, or who was that person's name, or how are they related? And so I just want to take a moment to encourage all of you as we end the Black History Month to please capture your own Black history within your family, because it is super important. And just because elders don't talk about it doesn't mean it didn't happen. There is also often a lot of trauma and a lot of hurt tied to the history in our families. And so people feel like you're better if you don't know about that. But the truth is that, like he says, if you don't know your history, you really only know half of who you are. So I'm so glad that you said that. So I'm so excited. DeVaris is not, did I say it wrong, DeVaris? DeVaris is not from Kansas City. He's actually from Louisiana, from New Orleans. And he is a Katrina survivor and has relocated to Kansas City over the last few years. And so I'm so excited that we have someone that's not even from Kansas City, but knows firsthand what it's like to be really just kind of pulled away from your home and culture. And that's why he is passionate about sharing this connection when you have Kansas, Missouri with the Black Horsemen. So I will say thank you to extending and pushing and being willing to do this. Like, you didn't have to, there was no direct benefit, but I want to just say publicly, this is how it starts, because everyone in this room is going to learn something that they didn't know, all because you said yes. So thank you for that, and I want you to come on up so we can welcome you.
Um, 33 years old, Forrest Taylor, born and raised in New Orleans, raised in Illinois, partial. I don't know what a lot of people look at things as far as the horse community. You can call it cowboys, you can call it a horseman, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, we all got the same love for horses. So when I met with these guys, these fellas, these brothers, it was more to it than just a relationship with a man or a female, because it was all for the love of the horses. So at the end of the day, I looked at it as, it wasn't about where I'm from, where I came, how I was born, where I was born, how I was raised. It was about the culture. Now, like I said, I'm not from here, but at the end of the day, I know where I'm at.
Go ahead.
Surviving Hurricane Katrina was something serious. My mom was, I had to find my mom. I had to find my brother. Though we speak about that, it's not what you've been through, it's where you're from and how you get through it. I met these guys. I met Dre. That's my brother. We two drunks. We two homies. We talk about relationship problems if we no drunk. We a drunk. But, you drunk now?
No.
Yeah. He tips, he loaded. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, we travel to Oklahoma. We travel to different cities and states, and we do this thing called I can't explain it because there's two different dynamics of this. You look at it and you're like, damn, he got a horse. No, what kind of horse he got? He got a court horse. We may not, it's uncensored, right?
Yes, but
To a certain extent.
To a certain extent. But what I want you to do is, if I could just, I'm gonna jump in a little bit.
Yeah.
So can you bring up the rest of the
panel?
room? Yeah, and then
Okay.
I'm gonna ask for you all to define a couple of things that, like the difference between a cowboy and a horseman. And Brother John touched on it, but why we even named this one the Black Horsemen of KC, this event? Because you were very clear with me why it was horsemen. So why don't you bring them up and then we can.
Okay. First, we're gonna bring up Barry, And a lot of people may take it, but Barry has the Bay-Bitch. Come on, Barry.
That's
Barry has
the color
the
of his
baby.
horse.
That's what he calls
That's
his
what he
horse.
called her when she's acting retarded, jumping fences and stuff. Don't want to come over there.
Call it
So,
a baby. Come on, Barry.
no offense, we know what the definition in the dictionary is, but that's just what he be saying when he be mad at her. Cause he work all day, he be ready to go home.
Yeah.
But our horses eat better than we do. My dogs eat better than I do.
Come
I
on,
can
Barry.
feed them before I feed myself.
Facts. Barry.
I certainly want to thank the panel and DeVore for even thinking about having me come and share what I believe is history and still in the making. He also asked me to come and expound a little bit about Bill Pickett. So I know Brother Anderson here covered some of that, but the other Brother Anderson will go ahead and finish and refine some of that.
There you go.
Bill Pickett. Bill Pickett. We have calf roping. We have barrel racing that was added some years later to give the ladies something to do in the rodeo. We have team roping. And then last but not least, even though they have other auxiliary events that go on now in today's rodeo, we have what they call bulldogging, steer dogging. Now, and I don't condone or, as I look at his history, encourage any 10-year-old to quit school because of the world and the orbit that we're living in now. But growing up, he decided that he would leave school. School in the 1880s is a lot different than it is now in the century we're in. But he was a man on a mission. I do know that his brothers, being born of 13 out of the union of his mother and dad in Williamson County, Texas, they were able to start a bronco busting and horse breaking operation. So that gave him a source of income, even at a young age, breaking horses. The Dusky Demon, they called him. The Dusky Demon. A promoter saw that in him when he was helping the herds. Some say he had a dream, but deeper history tells us that he used to watch his herd dogs bite the bottom lip of a steer's lip and bring anywhere from a 900-pound to 16, 17, 1,800-pound steer into submission. As he rode, if a steer broke rank from the herd, he was able to ride him even before they thought about roping him. He would come off the horse, lock his heels in, bite the tongue or the lip of the steer and bring him into submission and flip him over. This in fact became a pillar of what we call modern day rodeoing. For years we have been marginalized, and our counterparts have undoubtedly capitalized on this being a multi-billion-dollar a year affair, from California to Texas to Minnesota to all over the United States. But Bill Pickett was international. Bill Pickett is a pillar. He is the progenitor of why we have rodeos today.
What wasn't it?
Without bulldogging, you wouldn't have a complete rodeo. So let's keep that in mind, because even though he was born in 1870, he died at such a young age of 61. It's not so much when he was born or when he died, but that hyphen between the year he was born and the year he died. is where the indelible impact was made on humanity. Because God has bestowed upon mankind to subdue all animals in the earth. Bill Pickett displayed this and demonstrated this in his own stamina, fortitude, and wherewithal. And before each competition, he would say, and we still say it today, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. That was one of his favorite sayings. And it goes without saying that Bill Pickett also was the first black cowboy that was on any movie screen. He is the standard of which all other actors were able to, because of the wall that Bill Pickett, the petition that he was able to break down, the barrier that he was able to collapse, to open the door for people like Bill Cosby and any other black actors who have come along. That was their first jobs in acting. So anytime you see black actors in Hollywood movies, you remember Bill Pickett was the standard because he was the first black American Hollywood cowboy. Now, history also has it that we all have some folklore in us. It just depends on what triggers it and what brings it out of us. Oftentimes, as we have ridden the streets of Kansas City,
Come on,
because there are no laws prohibiting horses or pedestrians or wagons to still continue to ride the streets of Kansas City. And we take joy in that on holidays, Easter, Mother Days, and the joy I get out of it is to see young children playing in the yard, run out midway in the street. Here come the horses, here come the horses, here come the horses.
That is.
And we try to stop sometime and talk with them and help them understand that these are beasts of burdens. Often I used to say when I see a guy dress up in his boots and his shirts and his coats and he looks like a cowboy, but when I ask him something about how the West was won, he can't tell you. So he certainly may not qualify. But we respect that because, you know, the industry,
Come on,
the
Barry.
multi-billion-dollar industry.
Come on, Barry.
For Western wear.
Come on,
But
Barry.
the Western wear that I wear
Come on,
is
Barry.
because I've had the stamina, the fortitude, and the wherewithal, and I have built fires by the creek
Come on, Barry.
so that my horses can drink. I've taken the T-posts and stabbed and broke the ice so that my horses can have a drink.
There it is.
I've had to haul water when the creek dries up in the summer. Because of some unknown or suspicious reason, the waters were cut off.
There it is.
I have had to haul in the hay, to put up the hay, so that the horses will have plenty to eat during the winter months after the hay has been cut and baled and harvested.
Right.
So when you see me dressed like this,
Just know.
it's a guarantee
There it
that
is.
I've been there. I've done that. And it's a tough, arduous life, but it's a beautiful life.
There it is.
We love animals. God has blessed us in such a way that we have dominion over these animals.
Yeah.
And, you know, last but not least, God rest his soul. Bill Pickett is a legend. His legend continues to live on.
Yeah.
Anytime you hear about a rodeo, you
Yeah.
should always think about Bill
Bill
Pickett.
Pickett.
Because without Bill Pickett, there would be no rodeo.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he died, and the way he died,
Yeah.
but he was a man on a mission, and God assigned him his mission. He accomplished his mission. And to that end, an old rogue horse, untrained, unbroke horse, kicked him in the head. And he died. But his spirit is the common thread that lives on through all of us, be white, black, Native American, and whoever wants to pick up a rope, whoever wants to engage in that type of activity. I did have the honor to be in that Dollar Shrine rodeo in 1998, and I was able to win a belt buckle. But I had to stop and think about it at Kemper Arena. Do I want to do this after I jammed my hip riding the Bronco? And I said, I gotta go to work Monday. So I better stand down on this. And I took second thoughts about it. So I'll just stay with the gaited horse.
There it is. The what?
Ride the gaited horse.
The what?
Ride the gaited horse.
All right,
Keep your heels down. Then you ride. Empower your horse. Ride on into the sunset. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Hey, what's your horse name? One more time so they know. No, just tell me. Just tell me.
Her name is Belle.
What you call her though?
The Bay Girl.
Now I want to introduce everybody to some of the guys who pulled up. My brothers, I love them. It's certain times where we get into arguments, we get into disagreements. We fight over the little stuff such as feed. The horse feed, we get into it over stupid shit. But when I tell you, I will move mountains for him. I want to introduce Dre. I love you, bro. Facts. It's my bro. Hey, yeah. I love him.
How y'all doing?
And then y'all already seen Barry.
Yeah. You already met Barry.
Yeah.
First one I'm bring up out the group. Hey, what's your name? Sims. Come up here, man.
Sim.
And you all can bring the chair with you. So,
Bring the chair with you.
Why I'm bringing Sims up first? True bulldogger right here. And the only reason why.
Bulldog.
Can you define what a bulldogger is?
Well, we're gonna go back onto what Barry was talking about Bill Pickett. This man right here, you know, he get on my nerves sometimes with his arrogant attitude.
And not returning text messages of claims.
That's what he do. He don't even answer your phone call, but we gonna talk about that later. But when you define, to piggyback on what Barry said, when you define the true definition of tough, me personally, man, I'm a Scorpio back. November 11, 1981, 2613 Wood Kansas City, Kansas. Me personally, I done been through my days. Anybody that's from Kansas City, Kansas, if they ain't gonna sit up and say they wasn't at Trails Inn or they wasn't part of Sunny Baby, and I'm gonna speak for the ones that ain't here. Trails Inn Ranch, they made men, young men. True enough, we grew up before we were supposed to. But when it comes to the definition, and he talk about Bill Pickett and bulldogging, I ain't gonna. I mean, me personally, he ain't that great. He ain't out in Vegas doing no shows, nothing. But that's personal. But what I would say, I'm gonna give credit where it's due. That boy tough. Look how he built. Big old calves and stuff like that. He gotta be able to sit on that horse somehow. But when it comes to bulldogging and roping, I mean, it ain't too many people outside the Mexicans down there, and the only reason why they ain't come because they was worried about immigration and stuff like that. We gotta put a disclaimer. Next time we do a TV show, immigration won't be here, anything like that. But outside of that, I'm gonna give it to Sims. So I'm gonna let y'all meet him. Sims is what we call him, but he might tell y'all something different. That's none of my business. But I'm gonna let him talk, and then I'm gonna let the rest of them come on. We got the youngins. Keon, he's a McNeil. Everybody that's from Kansas City, Kansas know James McNeil Sr. Ermine, I don't know where he came from. I think we found him at the gas station or something. But he just been around ever since.
We'll take him, huh?
Ranger Danger, I don't know. Every time we get together, he's either flipping somebody's horse up in a brush pile somewhere, some trees or something, falling off a horse, landing in the middle of the street or something.
Cracking up with somebody else.
And falling off because he's laughing at somebody. But we got Ranger. All these guys gonna come up. We're gonna keep it short that way, because I'm sure they all got stories to tell.
When you gonna stop talking?
I'm gonna let him have it. So y'all can get more outside of Barry, what Barry was talking about with bulldogging. This man do it, I'm gonna say 4 days a week. His kids even do it. But I'm gonna let him go ahead, because this way we can tap in not only from Kansas City, but we can tap into the heartland of Bill Pickett down in Tulsa, Oklahoma, down all off in that area. He do it more than I do.
All right, let's see.
Bring your chair. Come over there. And we gonna come. Right there. Come on. That's Armand. Let's just introduce everybody. I want to just do that. That's Keon. That's my boy.
Bring your chair. How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Yeah. Rain. Yeah.
Bring your chair with you.
Take your chair with you over there. There you go. Come on, Drake.
Dre, you're gonna go on punishment soon.
I'm cool, I'm used to being there.
Okay, so from left to right, we're gonna have everybody introduce themselves. Age and nickname again. For people who didn't see Dre. Come on, Dre.
My name is Andre Bryce.
What's your old you?
I'm 40. I'm a November baby Scorpio. Come on, son, what's your name?
I'm Armand. I'm from Kansas City. I'm 16.
This is my adopted son I found at the gas station. Trying to sell gas for $9 a gallon.
My name is Sims, 35 years old, Kansas City.
DeVars. Everybody call me Var. As Sims will call me Black Man. I'm 33. From New Orleans, but I reside in Kansas City.
I'm Keon, aka K Money. I'm 19.
He's a horse trainer.
That's capable.
I'm a gator horse trainer, train walk horse. That's
He a
my
man
ability.
deal. I don't know why he didn't say his last name.
You don't get to talk while he's talking. Yeah, we gotta hear him, because I don't have mics, so that's why. So back here, it can, up there it sounds different.
Kansas City, Kansas. Train horse the best of my ability.
Marcus, everybody calls him Ranger Danger. Got that name. I was a kid. I was just the one to hop on anything. I don't care how wild, whatever. Got legs and hair when you know it. That's just what it is.
But tell them what you're known for. How would they know?
Horses, breaking horses, training horses.
Not even that. Stop it there.
Everything.
He's known for the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that too.
He was the man with the horse in the middle of the
Yeah,
crowd.
the Chief Super Bowl parade.
Oh, wow.
He made it to the news. Top of it. That's him.
Okay, so,
That's him.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
Thank
Just
you.
turned 27. Birthday is February 1st.
All right now.
all right, so I'm gonna ask a couple of questions if I can. When I talked to DeVars about this whole thing, my mind was completely blown when he was talking about 16 and 19-year-olds and 30-something-year-olds. And I was like, why don't we know about this? And I'm talking about, like, why are y'all not leading the Black History Parade and the this? Am I the only one that just did not, like, know about it? So clearly, and I want to just say this, clearly you all have a culture, y'all have a connection, and it's generations. Like, what's happening? Where's the disconnect?
Well, back in when we was younger, when he was a little kid, we was with this group called the Twin City Riders and the Tom Brass Riders, and they actually did a lot of stuff with the youth. And we used to have a rodeo every year down here at the Camp Arena, and it used to be at the Jerry Smith Farm. It started out being the Bill Pickett Rodeo, then it turned to the Twin City Invitational Rodeo. It was a black rodeo. And just like as the years go by, a lot of stuff happened and people just veered off and they stopped doing stuff with the kids. And so that's one of my main reasons why I always take these children to the rodeo, stuff
sure.
like that. And so, this stuff, so like it give them exposure. Like, he's been going on rodeos with me since like 2 years from now. He done came to a few of them as well. And just trying to get them around some actual stuff that they like to do instead of just sitting in the streets or something like that. So it's just better to keep them. And also my kids, they also do rodeos as well.
Talk a little louder so I can hear.
Also my kids do rodeos as well. My daughter, she's 14, and my son, he's 6. And so that's the thing. Like you said, you're trying to get it out. It's been here, it's been out. Like you just didn't know because it hadn't been out for so long. I think the rodeo here had been probably about almost 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And it was like a lot of people were doing it through the Black Archives too, because we used to do the Juneteenth every year. But then a lot of stuff with the streets and stuff, it got mixed up with all the people wanted to start coming to shoot and stuff, so that's why they stopped doing all the horses and stuff like that as well.
Because it was scary though.
Yeah, so yeah, it was putting everybody, like children, into danger and stuff like that.
So I think that's an important history that like we need to know about and think about, like how can we advocate, because I am for sure little kids would be fascinated. Like horses are beautiful and grand creatures, and when we see people that look like us mounted on these horses, that is very empowering. When we see young people, like, I mean, you're telling me you're breaking horses when you were young, and I'm just like, because kids are fearless, right, to some degree.
Another thing, like you were saying, here, like even in Missouri, we do, you know, birthday parties, stuff like that type of stuff, and exposure is the #1 thing. But you know, you just gotta really get it out there, is what it is. One person spreads to the next, that, you know, this, that, the third. So that's really what it is, major. But we're here.
So are you all, the young people, are y'all in high school? Or you're in probably not.
graduated.
But, so on the weekends you're like, man, what y'all do? And they're like, we played Madden. And you're like, oh, we did horses? Like, I mean, do you invite your friends? Is it, huh?
To me, it's an everyday process for me. Like, I just don't stand out. I don't even play games.
Do your friends know that?
No, they don't.
Okay, that's my question. So they don't even know about this.
Mine did back in high school. I was there in boots, spurs. I didn't care.
Yeah,
Jumping back in my
piggyback.
class, spitting, dipping, getting in trouble by the teacher. Ain't allowed here. And then I spend weeks at a time. I'm going, boom, hitting cell barn to cell barn, picking the horse up here, picking the horse up that state, dropping him off from that one, and breaking this one here, and getting paid to ride that one. That old man wanted me to ride that one, so we're gonna go ahead and get that. And hey, we were everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't wanna steal the show, but I'm not gonna let Keon sit up for 1 minute and fiberglass. Like I said, he's a backyard baby. It was bred in him.
Yeah, it's in my.
I don't care what y'all say.
So tell us about the
From
McNeils.
Eufaula, Oklahoma to Kansas City to back, it's bred in him. I remember Keon, him, right there. Yeah, I'm 6'9", I'm Takashi.
Not 6'9", I'm 6'8", I'm big. Still,
He used to be up on the rear seat of his grandpa's truck. When I say that boy was terrified of a horse,
I was.
Keon would sit on the back seat of his grandpa's truck
100-degree weather.
and wouldn't get out that truck to save his life. You see a horse come out, Keon up under that back seat. Right now, as of today, I wouldn't care if it was -75.
He on the horse.
If he ain't on the horse, nah, he gonna go down there and feed.
That's it.
He gonna go down there and make sure them babies is cool. I ain't got the strength. -10, my bones don't even move right. But I'm not gonna let him sell himself short for 1 minute. Even Sims will talk all that, oh, I ain't getting out the house. Mother F this, mother F that. But this is the only guy that I know that's down there at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when it's -69, feeding his horses. He mad at everybody because everybody in the house up under the covers laying down, and he's out feeding horses. That's because he works all day and didn't want everybody to move to his schedule. I can't do that. I gotta be up at 5:30. I gotta drop Draven off because she be tripping. She be bugging. I gotta get up, I gotta get McDonald's, get her 2 burritos and her coffee, so I can get off to school.
So, okay, so, yes.
Go ahead.
I can't see none of these. The only one I can see is So, I'm really interested in what exactly, because I know you said that they hadn't had a rodeo here in 10 years. So how can John Q. Public find out more about what you guys are doing? And are you a part of a set or a certain group? Is there a name, or, you know, what do we do to find out about what you guys are about? Like, you know, how can the public know?
So basically what you're saying is, you asking, how do you find out what we're doing? If John
Yeah, like if
Q
you're-
want to know.
If there's some type of event going
Right,
on,
there it
or
is.
do you guys,
Well,
is
we
that
do,
an ongoing thing? How do, you know,
I
how
have,
do we
me and-
wanna go and see what
Me
you
and my
guys
brother
do?
have a thing over in Missouri. It's called the Copper Boy Ranch. And what we do over there, we have 88 acres right on Bannister. And so
Oh,
we do,
yeah.
we do birthday parties, everything. You come out there, rent it out. Main thing right now is just getting the business cards out there, trying to, get the word out.
Yeah, I don't think that, so I'm gonna just make a suggestion, if I could, and that is that, in the Kansas City, Kansas and Kansas City Public Schools, I know in the Kansas City Public Schools, there's an African-American male superintendent who would love to know about you all. And I think that there are so many opportunities, not only just teaching about different ways in which, a different community that somebody could become a part of, possibly, maybe not, but learn about, but also alternate choices to how you're spending or pursuing career in those different type of things. Like, my daughter goes to an A&M, and that's all agriculture mechanical. So you have people, she's at Prairie View A&M, so you have people who are second, third, fourth generation, and they're doing the technology side of helping to keep animals alive and all those different kinds of things. So it's like, I think that a lot of people don't know that that is out there, and then that this is not something from long ago. This is long ago and right now, and that we have a history. And so it's just a further conversation, but of kind of organizing and getting the right place, because I'm thinking, I would have really benefited from going to the American Royal, but also benefiting from the story that we heard, not only from Brother John, but also, what was his name, the elder? Brother Barry as well, like somebody who's also living and breathing this, and you all clearly have a lot of respect for him. It's clearly, we're representing 3 generations here, and then you're talking about legacy and talking about the past. That is what people actually need to know. When we talk about things like critical race theory, the West was not all white. You all have, and that's what has been pushed, right? And so then this is like living proof. It's living proof. And you all are saying, hey, and I even saw this special with Al Roker, and his name is Aura. He's a cow puncher. And he was saying that he didn't even know the history, and that on the range, that there is a harmony between races because there's so much respect for the work that's being done. So I'm like, that's also a further conversation too, right? When people identify with something so strongly that the things that make us united are bigger than the things that make us different, and that it really is based on people's skill set. So I know that we started talking about what you do with the rodeo and how is that different. And then you have a 6-year-old. So how young are they starting? Isn't that scary? I saw a video recently where dad threw the baby up in the air and the mother is yelling at him. And I'm like, yeah, like who are you partnered with? That's like, yeah, we're going out to the, how does that even work?
It's like, I grew up since I was, the first time on a horse, I was 6 months old, basically. And ever since then, they said I've just been riding horses since then. And it's just from different towns, different states, a lot of those cowboys in Texas and Oklahoma, they start their kids real young. It's a little girl right now, she's beating the professional level. She's beating her mom, and she started riding at 4. So they're going from ground up. And that's the difference. Like around here, we don't have that outlet anymore. A lot of places where they had practice places where we can go to and do all that, they don't have it out here no more. So
What happened to it?
people sold it off, and the
ranch.
Like, for instance, like
I
you said.
remember Benjamin.
Yeah, they leveled that off and made the,
Cerner.
Where they test stuff.
And like, American Royal, they actually closed that down and made that the Hy-Vee Arena, so now it's just all sports, basically. But like,
They're building another American Royal.
yeah, that's how, KCK is supposed to come out in like, about 2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
But let's speak on that though.
But see, when
That's
it-
not the, hold on, I don't mean to cut you off, bro. That's not the African American Royal.
But see,
And I'm not mad at it. I don't look
but
at
that's
it.
how it basically started though from Africa. I mean, the American Royal, because actually it was made from a guy named Tom Bass,
Right.
and that's who actually started the American Royal, where they started riding the training, walking horses and stuff like that. He used to train horses from presidents and all that. He was a famous trainer.
So I don't think you came in.
No, they weren't there.
He wasn't here.
Okay, he wasn't here. He was talking about, found out that's a distant relative of him with doing
Tom Bass.
doing the
Yeah, they
research.
also have a book.
brought him in first.
It's also a Tom Bass book, and we used to be a part of that group when we were small. He was too. It was called the Tom Bass Riders.
Okay,
And
but you're saying that, are you saying that because they closed the one in the bottoms and are moving it to KCK, that's a totally different thing now,
It would be
politically?
politically.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Because it wouldn't be what we
The
used
lineage.
to. There it is.
It's
But
the
it's-
lineage, I get it.
I have to, whenever you guys have a stopping point, I do wanna have something to say. I know me and my daughter came over to visit you guys, but I think that my daughter is an inventor.
Hold on.
My daughter is an inventor, and my daughter is an English writer, and I think you would have the opportunity, and I'm the vice president of the Mill Creek Pony Club, but I think that you have to be organized. And I think you have to make if you're gonna be on Facebook, you will drive, like, we just came because we thought it was some, and we don't see very many Western people because we are the only within like a 4-state radius. English, my daughter does dressage and show jumping and everything. But the thing about it, we don't see them. But if you had like a Facebook page and you somebody was consistently on it, I think you could do that. And I'm on a lot of boards and a lot of different organizations, and I think it's how you present it. You could be at the American Royal. I don't think it's that you couldn't, but I think that you have to be a people for everybody. And I just think you guys can do it. I mean,
I'll feedback on that. I'll feedback on that. I respect that.
Yeah.
Your opinion. We're not looking for that. We're not looking for anything.
But how
What
do
we
you
look for is
continue?
the
How do you continue to keep the legacy?
Because
How
the
do you keep
legacy
the
is what it is. At the end of the day, we are us.
You have a cohort?
yeah, I see exactly what she's saying. Though.
Yeah, I see. We're not looking for just one.
I don't have a card. I'll give you my number.
Okay.
We're not looking for just one.
Because
You know what I'm saying?
That's it. You're
We're
not
not
gonna have a
looking.
legacy.
I get it. We're not looking.
But what she's saying is because that ain't, I mean, you saying you just wanna ride, but like also, but I know, but also they still, like she's saying like facilities, like we were saying with the facilities where we wanna go practice.
All right.
That's fine.
So
That's what she basically saying.
okay. So I'm gonna just like touch something in the room, and what I'm gonna touch in the room is that there are differences. There are class differences.
There is.
And so we are not going to ignore that there are class differences, right? In any art form. In any art form. So right now, we're talking about the Black Horsemen, the rodeo, this. And so I'm going to share with you what I'm hearing. And that is that there is so horses that walk and things like that, that's going to probably appeal to people who have access to resources. They're often college educated, all of these different kinds of things,
Exactly.
and looking to immerse in culture. And then you have a culture of people that are it's a different type of free thinking, which is saying we have maintained this without white patronage. They're not going to tell us what to do, how to do it, and this is a safe place for Black men to be Black men. Now, hold on. So what I'm saying, and I'm just sharing the observation. So what I'm saying to that is, as we elevate, how can we, first maintain anything that I am a part of? as a black woman, it has to maintain first. I'm not selling out anything. At the same time, my question is always, how can I make this elevate so that it becomes something greater? So we can start out in these really different places, but what I am seeing and what I am saying is that we don't want to lose this. We don't want to lose this because people need to know this. If I knew this, I would have thrown my son and daughter into this because they actually do ride horses that they learn to ride in camp, where my son did 7-day horse trips and trails with horses. I didn't know that this was accessible to him because he would have kept riding horses. So what I'm saying is that I am a person who does have their ear to the ground. How can we help to elevate this? So the joining of forces, right? That may not be your thing, but she may be able to help you navigate a thing that you don't have to know how to navigate. So I just want to address that because that is such a big part. That is our W.E.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington debate. That is our Martin Luther King, Malcolm X debate, right? That is our Pat Parker, Audre Lorde debate. So it's the class issues that we have as black people that we have to address so that we can elevate. Both of them can exist, right? We don't have to choose one or the other. And so I just wanted to touch that in the room in a real honest way because I'm like, you know, I just kind of feel really like, damn, I wish I would have known this. And the only way that I know it, because Sims, you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me what you did. You just was like, hey, I'm here to fix your closet. And then he just said, I need to feed my horse. That was it. And I'm like, feed your horse? So, you know, and that's because I'm nosy. If somebody says something that's interesting, I'm like, tell me more. Yeah, and then you came to fix my closet, but you bought a horse trailer, and then everybody was calling me and my boyfriend like, it's these dudes with a horse trailer at your house. And I'm like, I'm here at the gallery like, what are they talking about? So it was it had Citadel all in an uproar. They didn't know what to do. They were calling out everybody. But yeah, huh?
You got a question behind.
See, I'm right up the street on Brooklyn right there. I be having horses in the yard the whole time.
Wow, really?
And listen, this man's gonna ride a horse down to Grand Slam.
I love that.
I tell you, listen, what it's really gonna take to get this up and off the ground is sponsors. Because exposure and sponsors, if we get some people behind our back, black, white, blue, or brown, I don't give a rat's who. But you get somebody behind your back to where we can actually set this up the right way. And
you first need a 501. You need a 501c3. You need a non-for-profit because
not
there's
only that, but I mean, there's so many things to what we can open up a resort.
Yes.
You can.
I mean, I've got this stuff written down, but it just because the people who actually can do it, like me, we don't have the money. To be quite honest with you, but we do have the ideas and we got the land to do it and the know-hows and the 1-2s to do it.
And we only need to focus on what you have, not what you don't, because other people can get the what you don't.
Exactly.
We can work with the what you have, right?
Watch what you do.
Yeah.
It goes off your character.
He got a question back there though.
I don't really have a question. I just want to say I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's great to see somebody is black like me in a different image and not worried about their muscle and their speed on the football field or on the basketball court. When I was a kid, there was it used to be Hypermart off of Hillcrest and Bannister, and there's pictures of me as a kid with a cowboy hat, and I had some black cowboy boots, and I thought I wanted to be a cowboy. And so it's cool to see that realistic. I have a son that wants to be an athlete, but I feel it's something dope to see men and other essence of using their strength and their patience. First time you're talking about feeding horses, giving praise to God to nurture something that He created. So I want to say I appreciate y'all to see y'all in the image and using y'all muscles for something different than running somebody over in the end zone or dunking on somebody on the basketball court, because that's how they always throw at us and stuff, you know, get a scholarship and play ball and all that. So I just wanted to say that.
But that's another thing what you said though. That's another thing you said, 'cause like he didn't understand as far as like rodeoing. That's actually a sport.
Yes.
And you also get a scholarship. I had a rodeo scholarship and a football scholarship. He had a rodeo scholarship to the same school, El-Scari.
But how many people know that there are rodeo scholarships?
I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Just like in like at K-State, there's also a rodeo school.
But I mean, when I say how many, like, are there a lot of African Americans that know that? Because listen, let me just be real with y'all. It's a lot of knuckleheads out here that, and I mean that in the sweetest way, that really what they need is something physical and a connection to something else that is living, that is meaningful and beautiful, that they get to care and nurture.
But at the end of the day, I don't care what nobody say. You could be the toughest, thoroughbred, street walking, 12th Brooklyn, whatever. Being on the back of that horse, dealing with something that got its own mind, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody say.
I agree.
You get that horse, he just been bucked off enough. Listen, it's a whole different ball game. So I'm gonna get on with dude. I mean, all these guys up here, you can get all our numbers. Your son,
Come ride.
them Saturdays, them Sundays, he ain't got nothing to do.
Come ride.
Man, tap in with us. Somebody gonna get it. If he's gonna be hell of a carpenter. I'm an electrician. You see what I'm saying?
So there's
hell
two.
of a carpenter. You got everybody from root to that's gonna teach him anything and everything he need to know.
Positively.
I went down that wrong road. I messed my life up. You see what I'm saying? Before I was even 18 years old, to where I can't even legally go to the store to even defend my family. Somebody come and step in my household, and I know I'm supposed to take care of my business because I made the wrong decision.
Right.
I played checkers, not chess.
There it is.
So this one and that one, I'd be damned if they do anything goofy.
Yeah.
Besides riding a horse.
Anything goofy. So I'll let them do anything dumb.
Yes.
Besides
than I
riding a
did.
horse.
See what I'm saying?
Besides riding a horse.
Well, we all got Facebook.
Everybody got a Facebook.
I'm from the streets of Chicago. You know, I ain't never in my life want to be a cowboy until my nephew. My nephew brought me into the
Who's your
I really taught him how to
hold on?
Who's your nephew?
Hold on. Start over.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Hold on, Drake. Hold on. Keep talking. There you go.
Okay.
As I said, I'm from the streets of Chicago. I was doing gang banging, I just did all that type of stuff. I ain't never known about a horse or anything like this until I came to Kansas City with my nephew.
Who's your nephew?
DeVaris. This is my
Okay,
brother's
thank you.
son.
Thank you.
Now, he taught me how to love a horse. I'm scared of him still. But he taught me into getting on top of him. They all tell you this. I ain't finna mess with no horse. Period. But for the love of my nephew and the love I have for my nephew, I tried this. And I like it.
Yeah.
I can't afford it, but I like it.
Yeah.
He taught me how to be humble with it. I used to gang bang and all that type of stuff, but my nephew taught me a different way of life. So I applaud him, and I applaud all the people that's here that love horses. Man, thank y'all, and thank you to Bars for introducing me to it.
Yeah.
We rolling, baby.
Yes.
We rolling.
And I also think, another thing for it to really keep alive, we all need to come together and actually come to an agreement on how we gonna do this and how we gonna all elevate to get the word out, or how we all gonna have each other back first. You feel me? Because that's the only way we gotta get it out there. We gotta put it out there.
Who's the all? What were you referring to?
Everybody. Whoever's in here.
Everybody.
We listen. We not exclude nobody from this.
Don't
this culture.
discriminate.
We don't discriminate.
Discrimination.
Pink, brown. We not
If we all
discriminate
come
nothing.
together, we can really go ahead,
We can make this
and once
work.
we get some real sponsors, we can really run Kansas City and Kansas.
There it is. But at
And
the
I mean, to the point to
try to
where,
start something to go
no,
off.
I mean, it
Jump
is
off of.
take over as in, there's no more Benjamin State. There's no more none of that. We can create all of that. We can create new rodeos, new black rodeos. We can create all of this to where we are the leaderboard. We are the top of the head of the whatever. You know what
Absolutely. And there's a way to do it. It's not rocket science.
I got a question.
Yes, for sure. And let me just say this. There are people where that is their work to do. So you don't have to try to create it from like, you're like, I don't know where we're going to start. No, you all have something that's important enough, and that it's just a matter of us trying to like stay connected. And I know that there are people here who also probably have resources, and just even starting off with like, hey, do y'all have an LLC? Do y'all have a non-for-profit? Because the education part is going to be really huge.
Right.
That's where you can apply for grants. You all can apply for government grants. You all can apply for sustainability grants. So there are options there to you to like let this grow. Okay, hold on. I want to get her comment and then.
And her question.
Oh, you were first.
I really didn't necessarily have a question, but just, I was actually born in East Texas, so it was a lot of horses and cattle, and it's really familiar to me. Just the setting here, of you guys sitting here, your warm boots, jeans, everything is really like home for me. And the representation of the manly black man, the working class, still working class black men, I think that's important for daughters to see their dads
Doing something.
being hard workers, because there are a lot of times that they are told that black men are not. And I know that horses, cattle and horses are not easy.
Okay.
And it's almost piggybacking off what Church said about just exposing kids to something more than the inner city life that they think that they have no other choice but to do, because they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
I see you guys riding your horses on the street. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's right across from the school that's on Bannister, right there. I see the horses all the time. I live not too far from there. And whenever we pass, of course, it's a show for our kids. Like, look at the horses, but that's all we can do,
That's all you
is
can
look at the horses. So,
We always stop.
I know, I see there's a house there, but I never see like cars. And of course, the horses are fed and they're clean, but you know, I'm black. I'm not just gonna pull up to some random house.
Right, that part.
That part.
You're not about to operate your, was it?
Hey.
Your right to arms.
I'm a little bit country, but a lot of it city, and I'm not about to think that all my neighbors are welcoming. So I think that if you guys have an idea, all it takes is an idea. Like Natasha is saying, I'm sure somebody knows exactly who you are and exactly what legacy you are trying to preserve. And I, just like Church said, I just applaud y'all for doing what you're doing, especially at your age. It's one thing to have a lot of, older gentlemen out in here talking about their heydays, but for people my age and my kids' age to still be doing this and still be doing it the way that their grandparents were doing it. You know what? I could tell by the boots. Y'all are doing it the way
it's a real thing.
that your grandparents were doing it.
Yeah.
That's commendable for sure.
Yeah. We here.
Okay.
We ain't gonna move.
Yeah.
We here.
Wait, let me get hers and then yours. Okay.
I just actually wanted to know, you had mentioned that they prefer the term horsemen, and so I was wondering what the story is on that.
I would say, with me being, there's two different type of horsemen. I will let Rangers speak on what they do. But I would say, we do, us three, or I wouldn't say our mom. He's more of a, what they do. But he don't know what he want to do, but he got what he want to do.
And if he want to do both, he can.
He can. So it's like,
Well, tell him what it is.
in the mix, you got calf roping, bulldogging, roping,
And then you
a
got
cow
horse
roping.
riding. I'm a cowboy. I get on any and every time. You can bump, you can do what you want to do. You can jump, fall, I'm on you. When you want to get on me, I'm right on you. I don't care. I'm finna ride you out, and before the sun go down, I'll be able to put a kid on you, and we're gonna sell you, and we're gonna make a profit.
So that's a cowboy.
Cowboy versus a horseman.
What I'll do is, that's a salesman.
But no, I'm not a salesman. I don't care if it's walking horse, cowboy. Yeah, walking horse, cowboy. I mean, you know, walking horse, quarter horse, draft. It doesn't matter.
Basically,
Whatever it is.
What's the difference between a cowboy?
Okay, hold on. Wait, one at a time.
So, you know, I mean, just whatever it is, you should be able to get on it and handle business.
That's a cowboy.
No, that's not a cowboy. Let him explain what a cowboy is.
Okay.
Please explain what a cowboy is, bro.
well, basically, when cowboy, from the beginning, it became cowboy when black people were first called cowboys as an offense.
Yeah, that.
As a what?
As an offense.
Okay.
And that was back in slavery because they would say, "Hey, cowboy," and it basically was been when black people would throw like throwaway dummies. What throwaway dummies is basically they tell you get on something that's gonna hurt you and make sure they're gonna be all right. But see, they never thought that the cowboy was going to actually perfect the part where they're gonna have to get trained and all that stuff from them, and then they would wait for it. So they started becoming offenses back then, but then after a while they were like, oh, cowboy, then they wanted to take the name as well. And that's how it became cowboy, as the cowboy does ranch word or rodeo and stuff like that.
So they were initially the people that were supposed to risk their whole life,
Right.
so that and then the 3/5 human. So you risk your life, and then of course because we're whole human beings and smart and people want to.
That's where the cow and then the boy, because they call themselves cattlemen.
Yeah.
Cattle.
And then
Gotcha.
cowboy is a disrespectful word.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so the difference now between horseman and cowboy, because like the horsemen were
Do what nowadays? That's
where, you know, like the Tom Bass, like he said, even in his book, it was all horsemen, because that's basically what they were, horsemanship. They were mainly because it was doing the style of a horse.
And that's what her daughter does.
Right, so that's basically like English horsemanship. Like
So that's kind of, for people who are not in this culture, when the horse is like really pretty and does all the prancing, is that?
Yeah, that's more of the walking. That's
The walking?
more their style. That's why I say they're more horsemen.
Okay.
They're horsemen. Now they get mad at me sometimes because I bother them. I bother them, but I do it on purpose though. But I'll say cowboy, and they want to get mad and say, well, we cowboys. I'm like, no. On our nationality, you're not cowboy. It's not a bad thing that you're not a cowboy. It's just the correct word. You know what I mean?
And so you being a young person and like so many young people, y'all can like, we're gonna do it both. We're gonna rap and we're gonna sing. We're gonna do both. So this is like you like to do the walking part, but then you can also break the animals as well. Or is that what I'm hearing?
Not sincerely. So basically, what I do, I want a rodeo, but it's the events in the rodeo that I'm still deciding on what I want to do.
Gotcha.
So it's just like, you know.
We're gonna introduce.
He's still learning.
Right. We're gonna introduce Teron.
Hi.
He's a horseman.
Okay.
He's
Welcome.
Not a cowboy. He's a horseman.
He's a horseman.
There's a difference.
Okay.
There's a big difference. They ride quarter horses.
What are quarter horses?
We don't know about this. You have to
Okay,
teach us.
so let me break it down.
Thank you.
Apparently, quarter horses is
Run a quarter of a mile, basically.
run a quarter mile. What you do?
It's the fastest horse in the short mile distance.
There it is.
Okay, it's the fastest horse, so
short
this is like a sprinter. This is like the 100. Okay.
So they got
Thoroughbred is a long distance horse.
Okay, so that's like your cross country runner.
And
Okay.
then you have Arabian horses that are actually endurance running horses.
So they're both.
So they're
they actually run longer than both of those.
Oh, how much? So
got different. It's over 100 breeds, so it's just not a set breed of everything.
So who owns a horse?
All of us.
Yeah.
All right, who owns more than one horse? Okay, so how much is a horse?
Too much.
Like how much? How much is a horse?
It's like this. It depends on what you want. If you want what you want, this guy wants a thoroughbred or whatever the hell he wants. He can spend from $8,500 to $20,000.
Yep.
He rides quarter horses. They ride quarter horses. They can spend from $10,000 to $150,000. Just to
Okay.
get their horse to what they.
So it's kind of like you can get a Kia or an Escalade.
There it is.
All right. Okay. So then my question becomes, and I'm asking these questions because as I start to talk to people, because I'll be like talking to people like, hey, like this or that, and it's like, well, what do you need? Like, what is it annually to have a horse? If you
It's like, you gotta buy hay, grain, or whether if you're boarding somewhere, they're gonna either provide the hay, and you're gonna pay that in your boarding fee, but you're gonna I spend anywhere from $300 to $1,500 on a horse. But what I'm gonna do with that horse 9 times out of 10 is wild. So I'll break him and make him gentle, take him, turn around, sell him about $4,500, $5,000.
So you get a nice profit from that because you break the horse. Okay.
And then see, I don't have to board, so everything's rent free to me. Everything's free, so I'm just sitting back 30 days, 60 days, and making a profit.
Do you ever get attracted to the horse and want to keep it?
We all do.
We all do. They like our needs, you know.
I mean, I can say I just lost it.
on you with
But what you was saying, annually, it depends what kind of feed you want to buy the horse. Like some people buy feed that costs $20 a bag, and like on one horse, a bag of feed for one horse probably lasts about 2 weeks. So if you add that up, so I'm gonna say about at the most a month, say about $1,500
Per horse?
per horse because you have to buy hay
To feed it?
Yeah. So like for instance, if you
No, I'm serious. Like that's
But that's for self-care.
Yeah.
Okay.
For like, for instance, if you were to board a horse at a regional place and go for $150 for full care, and they'll take care of the horse for a month, $150, so you can add that up per month.
We'll see a Cowboy Ranch, we charge right on Banner Street. You gotta wanna buy one, put it right there.
Do you guys breed the horses?
Oh yeah,
Yes, we do.
I just had a little son not too long ago.
It looked Okay, so where do you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just have a quick question that's kind of about all this. So you say you gotta wake up at like 3 or something to feed the horses. So you all you all stable your horses where you live?
No, it's not necessary.
You just have to drive?
Some board, some 15 minutes away, some 5 minutes away, some down the street.
Okay.
So it just depends on where you at, but at the end of the day, we all look at it as these are kids.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to get up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, you have to get up at
But it's
time.
always best to have a set
time to feed them horses.
Just like a person would. But the thing about a horse is different though. Because a horse, everybody think a horse is supposed to get a big bulk of because they're so big. But they have the smallest stomach
in the world.
So they have to
Depending
a little
on the
bit of
horse's
time.
size and what horse it is, you calculate it off of that. Because some people can't underfeed a bigger horse, which I've seen that a lot of times. And that will cause them to just be feeding out of line.
Okay, so I hear an accent. Are you from?
I'm from here, but I spend a lot of my time. I'm everywhere.
Okay.
I was in Louisiana, younger, most of my time.
Okay. And then, can you share a little bit? You came to the panel news, so welcome. So glad to have you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, it's nice to meet you.
My name is Teron Byers. Just to piggyback on getting the feel for everything, it's a lifestyle.
Thank you.
It's a lifestyle. It's either in you, it's not in you. Gotta be in you, not on you. So me personally, I never considered myself a cowboy because I was told that it was a derogatory term towards African Americans in terms of back in the early days, they would send us out to go get cows, brand them, farm them, whatever, breast them down, go get that cowboy, talking to us. But we were so good at it and so athletic, it just stuck cow boy.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know that.
That I think so many people don't know that. That is such a really powerful
A lot of people
history.
don't know that, so.
Yeah.
And then it just assimilated to, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Assimilated to the public. Right? Yeah, there you go. You know what I'm saying? So everybody uses, you know, Spanish vaquero, Mexican cowboy. But I never liked that word.
Okay.
Cowboy, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that's a great history. So Horsemen, or
Yeah,
okay, yeah, and I mean it actually sounds really dignified too.
Yeah.
One of the questions I had was already answered when your uncle shared, but I want to ask you this question. You just made the point. It's not on you; it's in you. So let's say you are somebody who doesn't have any tradition to it, but you have this, you see this, and you're like, I am interested. I want to come in. What does a person need to prepare? How should they prepare themselves?
Come home.
Okay.
At the end of the day,
Just as far as like, what are the personalities and the traits of people that make great?
have heart.
Okay.
You gotta have dedication.
As he said, you know what I mean? How old are you, Lamar? He's 16.
They the youngest.
He the youngest. They the youngest. But he trained horses. He willing to get on whatever it is that you have. I don't give a damn if it's a Mustang, a Tennessee Walker, a quarter horse. He gonna get on it. He gonna train that horse. So at the end of the day, if he 18, 17, it's what it is. He's 16. Come home.
So I heard confidence. I heard determination. I heard humility. I heard heart. I heard mindset. So I think all of that is really interesting. Now, I'm gonna pause for a second before it's almost 7. I would not be the true feminist that I am to first acknowledge the women over here who just talked about it, and I see the boots that they're wearing and everything, because that was gonna be my question. As a feminist, is this a space that I can bring my daughter? Who is she gonna be safe in this space? Are women invited as long as they have those characteristics?
I have the perfect example. My cousin, this is my blood cousin. She's from Illinois. You know what I mean? When I say she ride quarter horses, I add her in the group. You adventure group, but it's full of men. You know what I mean? And she said, "What? I'm ready to figure out what's the next step because I ride quarter horses. Right. What do I have to do to ride with y'all? It's not about what you gotta do to ride with us.
Just come home.
Just come home. Come home. We'll teach you. We'll show you. And you know what she did in 3 weeks? What? 3 weeks? She came down and she
got on a horse.
She got on a horse.
She wasn't
and she
scared.
rode us last Sunday. She wasn't scared. It was
She put her
about
mind to it.
she put her mind to it. And we showed her the way. This is walking horse. What she used to is quarter horse. But it don't matter what type of horse you is. Let's get to it.
Yeah, and
Let's
Sim,
ride.
I think you said something really important with just come home, right? And I think sometimes we always have this impression that we don't have a home.
You got one.
I mean, that is a real big part of internalized oppression, right? Is that I don't belong. And we think in that manner even if we're not conscious of it. And I'm talking about this at Black History. You're told historically, no, 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 no. So you start thinking, okay, I have to have this, 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 and this. Sims, what is it like for your daughter in the space? Because how old is she? 14. And so these are her peers. What is it? What is it like for her? Obviously, this is a male-dominated community.
Well, not necessarily. It's not male-dominated because, like, it's females also. They're like she was saying, she has like she does the
my
English rider. I have a cousin. She does barrel racing and she does English riding. And she started getting into the jumping also. But it's not only just male. It's also females. Because like how I started when I was a kid. Before I started, my mom had horses. That's how. So that's how I ended up riding horses at 6 months old.
Because I was like, that's what, when you said 6 months, I'm like, a dad put you up there? Because I'm thinking like, moms don't even let you out their arms for a little bit. So now that makes sense.
You would have known that his mom put him on a horse. Though.
Right. I wouldn't have known that he didn't say that. So, okay.
Well, technically, my mom she didn't know I was on the horse at that day. My uncle, I was with my aunt. My uncle put me on the horse.
Okay.
She wasn't actually there, but it still just all started from like that.
Okay, gotcha.
So I would say this, I met Raider because I'm in this group called the Black Equestrian Queens, and it's all over the United States and the
Who
world.
knew?
And so I met KK, and I came to be in this group with KK, and I brought my daughter.
Talking about Kira.
Kira. But there's Danny, y'all know Danny. So she is she does barrel races. But I met them in this group, and I didn't even know they were in Kansas City. They're do Western, but no, that was Danny and also Rita. They started jumping with us, like they're like jumping, they're coming to
That's the
eventing, and so it's just you have to get connected, and I think that once you get connected, I appreciate what the young man is saying is that it is home because my daughter feels more at home with her Western friends, people that ride Western than some of our English riders, but yet and still we have to
Together.
we gotta bring those together, and there are a bunch of scholarships. And so my daughter's in the 10th grade. I'm like, my daughter may or may not get a scholarship, but I know enough that I can get other people's scholarships.
And can I piggyback off you? We Western, they ride quarter horse, they got different type of saddles. We ride English too. Don't get it. And no disrespect.
And y'all let my daughter ride in y'all.
We rolling. Come home. We not worried about nothing else. At the end of the day, this man will ride from Kansas City, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri, with 2 horses and thug it out. We not worried about nothing. Come home.
They hauled my horse, right? So they hauled my horse for me from Pleasant Hill. You remember that? Because you live out in Pleasant Hill.
Uncle lives out there.
Okay, but after that, I said, I'm getting my own trailer, I'm getting my own.
You got to. You got to.
I got my own stuff.
You got to.
And I get stuff all the time. Like, I go to the gas station, we got horses, and I'm pulling a 3-horse trailer. So, but that was because I actually had to have somebody like these guys pull for me, and now I pull my own horses. So, I just think you just have to be connected. You have to. I think you guys really need your own, like, if it's horsemen, and it's great to see men. I mean, we're single, well, a couple of men, but you would love to be connected to, men of color, equestrians, or rodeo, or Western folks, that you could feel like you can go home and you can do this. That's awesome, y'all. But
it's a lifestyle.
It'd be nice if they had a group online. I mean, look at all the people that came to listen for this time.
Right, and so,
might set something up for us.
It's good to have a woman that really can relate to this lifestyle.
For sure.
Some people just can't, because if you go to work every day, 8-10 hours a day, well, you gotta go feed. You get up at 5 in the morning, you gotta be at work 7 to 4. You just can't automatically go home. You got responsibility, and some people they can't handle it.
For sure, it's a lifestyle, right? So it's 7:02. I would like if you all could just lead in with like maybe one final before I say a goodbye, but just a final thought that maybe you want people to take home with them after meeting you and having this tremendous experience. We'll just start with you and just go around.
Okay, well, I guess just understand this is the kickoff of the game. Hopefully here tonight, there's enough people here to where we can network and make something happen, to where we can make a big ball game happen here. And that's what I'm shooting for. Let's get this professionalized, let's get it moving, let's get it grooving.
Yes, Ashe. Yes.
That's really about all I can say.
Yes.
I'm gonna make sure, basically, when you look at a horse, don't be scared. Put your mind to it until you can get up there and just ride.
That's so good for all of life, isn't it? Y'all get up on them horses and just get on up and ride, right? Yeah.
You gotta tap them up.
It's on me.
Short and sweet.
Well, I would say this, between us and you, we got a group called Sunday Fun Day on Facebook. Now, I'm not saying this is for the holier than thou, cause you're gonna see some crap talking in there, but
It's horse talk.
between us and you, you know, making everybody, especially you, cause I see you need to release some frustration and stress. You know, catch some pride. I got the boat, fish, I don't get no ride. But what I'm saying is, you know what I mean? When I say, I don't care what time it is, if you call me Saturday afternoon and say, hey, I need to get out on that water, or hey, I need to get on one of them horses that don't
Relax your
act
mind,
right,
basically.
so I can go relax. Even if you got some, I know you got some toys. If you call me and say you need to go out to the shoot, I'm not worried about the shoot range. Just get out there in the woods where that wind and everything makes a difference. You gotta shoot something that's moving. You gotta feed your family. What I'm saying is, we got a group on Facebook.
Your minute's up.
It's called Sunday Fun Day.
Sunday Fun Day, okay.
And get with her, because I'm sure everybody got her information. It's called
We'll
Sunday
find
Fun
a
Day.
different group instead of Sunday Fun.
No,
Yes,
it's Sunday
yes,
Fun
yes.
Day. No, we ain't gonna do that because it's Sunday.
A public, so what we want is a public group that people can come on.
Basically, how she was trying to say, so you never know what's gonna come up.
Yes,
You don't
and
know
then
what's
those are where events can be placed. It can be a group, it can be public, and and you all can have your own.
Networking page.
But a networking page, an information page, because I would love for more people to know about this. And I know it may sound weird because it's an art gallery, but this is an art. This is an art form. There's an art in everything that we do. And so, yes, Sims.
That was basically what you were saying. It's just like art is just basically everything. Anything you do is art. Period.
It is. Yes.
There's an art to it.
Basically, just really having the confidence to do what you want to do. It's just the, lifestyle you actually want to do. Put your mind to it. You'll be a successful, horseman or anything you want to be. Right. Really just putting your mind to it.
Yes.
And another thing is, like I said, coming together equals success.
Yes.
So in order to success, we got to come together.
All right.
As a total.
Yes.
And we can make something work.
I'm gonna have to clap on that one.
He's 16.
Yeah.
So, it takes a village to raise a child. So that boy could be out ripping and running the streets, doing this, doing that. He had role models. So I say that to say, it's a lifestyle, however, it's positive. We African American young men that we just like being out in the country, having fun. We everybody here is approachable. No egos, no eyes, and come up, ask questions, get on Facebook, whatnot, and we welcome everybody with open arms.
Yes.
I apologize for being late.
It's all good. Well, I want to say, one, if anyone wants to stay after, I would love to get a picture with all of you. And we want to make sure that we are supporting you. So if you all want to leave an additional donation, please feel free to do that. And we'll make sure that the gentlemen get it. And where's the bars? Yeah. well, he must have left, but just on behalf of myself and also my mother, who is a huge supporter of the Natasha Rear Art Gallery, as well as the artists that are here and the other business owners, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, you have really taught me, touched my heart, you've inspired me in so many ways, and I want so many more people to see and experience this. This is so very important, and so I am setting the intention that all of us in here go back out into our worlds and talk about this. You all get this group together so we can join the group, so we can come out and support the things that you do, bring people to pay to even watch you feed a horse. Y'all would be so surprised at what people will pay to do because it's an experience that they have never had. Some of us have never been close to a horse. We've never been able to witness somebody break a horse or anything like that. So,
touch a horse.
Yes.
I have one more comment. One of the things that I'm working on is
one of the things that we have to always remember too, that this is therapeutic.
Yes.
And so I'm thinking of a friend right now that's going through a lot of different trauma, and I believe that, just coming out, getting on the horse and just experiencing that. And again, when you talk about, the 501c3s and those kinds of things, I mean, we're always looking for mental health first aid kind of opportunities to get people into post-traumatic stress kinds of activities to alleviate some of that. So, I mean, this has so many benefits for
It
our
does,
community.
and the number one rising rate of suicide is in African American men 18 to 30.
And construction workers, I heard a couple of construction
Yes.
workers up here is number 2.
So this is also why this community is so important, right? Because I know y'all be talking about personal stuff too, right? It's a part of it. It's a part of the culture. So you all, thank you all for what you're doing. Please know that you are historians and keepers of the culture. To the young men here, I am so inspired. You all have touched the mother side of me, and to the men here, thank you for being so powerful and mighty. Sims, we need to talk after the show. I appreciate y'all so much. Let's give him a round of applause again. Thank you. Woo!